right? I'm always going to see you as a competition, kind of like what you alluded earlier. You mentioned earlier about how we see ourselves with these unnecessary competitions, unhealthy competitions. I should even add. And so it leads me to wanted to just talk about personal development. Where does the role of education in personal development play in achieving, the independence that we're looking for and the growth that we're looking for as Africans in the diaspora?
Okay, all right. So, Chidera, I mean, you will agree with me that personal development is a very important
Yes.
aspect, especially if you want to grow in a very competitive environment like the US.
Yeah.
A lot of us as Africans in the diaspora, like you said, I want to align confidence with personal development in the sense that a lot of us don't embark on that personal development trajectory because we lack self-confidence, right? We have that self-esteem, like you put it, from a traditional orientation. This is how our belief system, this is so we have that self-esteem. But that personal confidence, it's not there because we don't engage in personal development. A lot of us, African in the diaspora, we don't network, we don't build ourselves, we don't read, we don't engage in educational materials, we don't have networking sessions. I remember I was working with two actually within the same corporate setting, and we go for corporate sessions, they don't show up. Right afterward, they go home, they just want to be with their families, that kind of orientation,
Yeah.
and we don't push ourselves, we don't read, we don't do things outside of what we are used to. And there's something that I've observed. I mean, within our community, when we start making a certain level of income, we become so relaxed, so relaxed, and we don't push ourselves we don't stretch ourselves beyond our capabilities. Now,
Right.
capabilities is something that you've not tried before.
Yeah.
Exactly. Something that you've not actually. The moment you try that, that stops becoming your capability. In other
Yeah.
words, what it simply means is you have to keep learning and keep growing, keep building yourself, especially in how the world is evolving, how the world is becoming much more competitive. I mean, organizations are becoming much more competitive, so they need the right skills, they need the right people. And you see a lot of our people being stuck, right? I want to use this example. So my best friend's wife, I mean, she was so stuck in what she was doing. She had this mindset, oh, the army has so much benefit, so much this. She was comfortable. She doesn't want to stretch herself. She doesn't want to. And I remember my friend was like, but Paul, I do taxes for a lot of them. And my friend was like, Paul, I mean, just look at how much my wife makes. And she's so okay with, so I have to engage her, start talking to her, start stretching herself. She had an associate degree before you realize she has a degree. Now she's thinking about how to do her master's, stretch herself, So we have to be on that constant. The word here is constant personal development. You don't have to stop. And I enjoy people like that around me. That's why, I like people like you, because we are always sharing ideas. On the first time we met, it was about ideas about our community. It's about ideas about, how we can grow our community, how we can leverage, how we can build stronger partnership. One thing corporate America has taught me among my senior colleagues who are partners is we have this principle that you don't have to think about yourself. Let's say if you have about 5,000 partners within an organization, allow those 5,000 partners think about you so that you don't have to think. Exactly, that's our principle. You don't have to think about yourself. Allow other people to do the thinking for you. And that is how we grow. That is how we build. And I think we need to start having that mindset as a group that we should allow people to think for us. We should allow people to think about problems. And that way they can devise solutions for us to grow. Because when a group of people come together, the quality of decision making, you can imagine, rather than you just making personal decisions for yourself. But when
Right.
you leverage on partnership, when you leverage on community, right, we can go far. And then that would also, you can also grow as an individual. So, I mean, the role of personal development in our wealth, in our build trajectory, it is something that is uncompromised. We cannot compromise that. We cannot.
Absolutely.
It has to be a constant thing. It has to be a lifestyle. If I want to use a word, it has to be a lifestyle. It has to be part of
Yeah.
us. Read your book. We have to be accountable. We have to hold people accountable within our community. Like it's
Yeah.
something to start doing. Hey, what are you doing to build yourself? Have you set goals for yourself? What are some of the resources you need? Is this something that can help you? As far as resources are concerned, to help you, achieve that. So if we don't do that, we will be rightly you said, I strongly believe one of the reasons why we are where we are as a community is because we don't build ourselves personally. We don't engage in that personal development. We don't.
Absolutely.
We are okay with where we are. When we start making a certain amount of income, then we relax. Just relax, and nothing is going on in our lives, right? And secondly, to touch with that, we have to always look at the vision, the community vision. We have to prioritize the community vision as a group. If you are you have to prioritize rather than your individual spiritual interest. I remember a couple of years ago, I started a partnership business with two other Africans, right? And I remember it was an IT firm, like we were getting contracts and all that. And I remember the way we administer our services to some of our customers wasn't the best. So sometimes I have to call the other guys, listen, you've been assigned to this customer, follow up on this customer, do this. And one time, one of the guys told me, listen, you are not my boss. Why do you have to tell me to follow up on things? And I'm like, it's about a group interest. It is not about individual interest. And I have to I said enough is enough, and just because of where their mind was, their mind was not where I want to be as an individual. So sometimes we have to understand that our personal goals, we have to make our personal goals second to the organizational goal. That is how we can grow. And I've seen that among a lot of communities. It is about the community interest. It is about the community agenda. A lot of us in our community, we don't want to put our personal interests
Aside.
exactly. So
no, I totally agree. And it just brings me to this conversation I had with a person that lives in a neighborhood close to mine. And he was just saying, he was like, I think they're Middle Eastern, right? And he was saying that, his father, the house that he lived, I think him and his family, I think maybe a wife and children, and it's basically paid off. Do you know how amazing it is? And they're still young. They're a young couple, like 30, or at least 30s or maybe early 40s, perhaps, but a young couple. You actually have a pure asset at this point. And that's something, I think his brother was living in the house. So as a family, they focused, they paid off one house, then they got another house. Apparently in the community where we stay, they have about 100 real estate, basically 100 houses. They have 100 houses.
wow.
One family
Wow.
have 100 houses.
Wow.
Middle Easterns. And I sat back one day, I said to myself, how in the world am I and my family gonna get just two or three? Just two or three. I'm not looking for too much,
Too much.
I was just baffled. The fact that one guy in the family is attacked, and they deploy the same mentality. One guy in the family is a tax person, right? And so everybody in the community, in their community, uses that tax person. And then one guy is a contractor, general contractor. He does the real estate, renovations and stuff. Everyone in the community leverages that one guy. Well, if there's two of them, they partner together. And I build websites for clients all the time. And a lot of my clients are based off of referrals. And then, I get people that come and I see that they obviously, as you're building websites, you're also learning about the businesses. You're putting two and two together, connected. Oh, this person has this business. they can leverage, partnership with this person.
Yep.
And so I remember telling these one lady, like, yo, this lady, she has a nice cleaning business. You can partner. Oh no, I want to do my own thing. And I get it. I really do. But Paul, I'm like, if they can I don't know if they don't see what I see, obviously.
Yeah.
But if they just put their money, because the energy and the effort that they are putting in individually to create their own thing, and this is just apart from those two parties, a lot of our people, we're just recreating the wheel.
Yeah.
Recreating the wheel that already exists. And we don't even do it, a lot of people don't even do it better than the ones that existed.
Yeah.
They just do the same, mom and pop shop businesses, and they're not structured well and things of that sort. Combine your resources, right? Combine your resources. And this plays a big role in what we're talking about today with financial independence. When we as a people here in the diaspora are able to unify, in addition to what you've mentioned, personal development, and that part of that personal development also enhances our confidence in ourselves. Because once, like you said, once you have your capability, once you have maxed out and you just push one more above what you believe is your capability, you're right here and you push a little bit. Next thing you know, that capability is not something that you are not able to do. And you can put that in your resume as I am not able to do this. So it's no longer a limitation for you anymore. And so our people, we just exactly what you've said, the mindset, it starts from the mind, understanding that, in really unlearning a lot of the things that we came. Yeah, it's a lot that we have to unlearn, but having the mindset of I should be open-minded enough to know that I don't know what I don't know.
Exactly.
I should be open-minded enough to know that there's some things I should unlearn and I can unlearn. And I shouldn't just take on what has been taught to me blindly and just be following it, And then this also helps, especially, very well in West Africa specifically, I know for a fact. We have a problem, and God, I love you. God knows I love him. Jesus, I love you. But these people of yours, the way they worship the religion, they're religious, but they're not actual believers.
Absolutely.
Their lifestyle does not speak of actual Christ-like, but they definitely are religious. They will be there on Sunday, on Friday in church, Saturday in church, Wednesday service in church. They'll be there. They will tell you to give their tithe. They won't give theirs, but they will be there. You know what I mean? And part of the personal development, I believe, is once we are able to, again, learn, know things, know that we know it, we build our confidence. Once we build our confidence, you can't have all these terrible man of God, quote unquote, in our communities that are deceiving people, that are tricking people, and then people are literally running their life based off of a prediction from someone. And it's not to, again, excuse that. It's not to say that the validity of God and the presence of God in our community is not legitimate, but there's so many false people that are taking advantage of the lack of knowledge, the lack of confidence, the lack of personal development that our people have not done and are not doing. And they're monetizing it. They're making hella money. And they're also just damaging lives in essence, And so that's just something I wanted to put out there. It's been in my heart. And that's why personal development is a huge thing for me. And so as we digress, I want to talk about how, in terms of financial strategies and things of that sort, what are some practical strategies for saving money and building wealth for the Africans in the diaspora while living abroad, even here in America or anywhere else that you're familiar with?
So investment. I would say because it's an area that I'm very passionate about. I want to talk about investment a little bit. But before then, I see a clear distinction between something that I want to touch base a little bit, and this is taxes, right? Trust me, I see a clear distinction in wealth building between people who pay taxes and people who don't pay taxes. I mean, you can decide to believe what I'm saying or not, but trust me, being in the industry, this is something that I've really seen. And a lot of us don't know that, hey, taxes, when you pay your taxes, creditors, I mean, they look at some of these things. It's a huge component of the decisions they make. Because when you pay your taxes, it tells them that they are a very responsible business. You make money and then you pay your taxes. Yes, absolutely. And some of us don't really take that into consideration, right? We rather don't want to pay taxes, or we are much more focused in getting money from rather than getting money from, right? That is just something to touch just a little bit on that. Now, this is what I would say. Investments, investments, investments. There's a lot of investment opportunities out there. I mentioned in the earlier episode, you can look at stocks, you can look at bonds, you can look at fixed income instrument. These are ways you can gradually build your wealth. I mean, you don't have to just go and say, okay, you want to buy an Amazon stock, or you want, I mean, because some of them, the price of owning one share in these companies is very huge. So you can start off by buying indexes, investing into ETF, exchange traded funds. You know, when you invest in an ETF, what it means is you are owning a fraction of a company, right? So let's say if the share price of the company is, let's say, $1,000, right? I mean, and you don't have that $1,000. When you invest in an ETF, you are investing into a fraction of the $1,000, right? So all these things are ways we can start gradually building wealth. You can also look at commercial paper, certificates of deposit, all these things, depending on your risk appetites, right? Depending on what. And then another thing also you can look at is tangible assets, real estate. I mean, real estate, as we all know, it will never go bad. It always appreciate capital. There are rates. There are real estate, fractional real estate investment that you can invest in. Because some of the real estate investments, I mean, the capital required to go into that is intensive, right? It's very huge. You may not have $1 million or $10 million or $100 million to just start real estate development. But you can invest into a real estate development company and a lot of the real estate development companies pay what we call dividend. In other words, they share their profit with you on a quarterly basis. So while your capital is being preserved, and then they're also sharing. So all these things are avenues where Africans in the diaspora, we can take advantage of all these investment opportunities, right? We can save ourselves a lot of taxes by investing into some of these investments.
Absolutely.
We can save ourselves taxes. And this is something that I do on a daily basis, right? But we have to just determine the right investment we want to invest into. It's not just go into investment. You need to read about the investment. You need to read about a company. If you cannot do that, get an expert within our community. Paul is there, right?
Paul is there, man.
I can advise you on investment. What do you want to do? How much? You don't have to have a lot of capital to invest. Let me break a myth. A lot of the time, people think, oh, I need to have $1,000 or $2,000 to start investment. That is a myth. You can start investment with as little as $2, with as little as $3, and then grow that over time. As you make more money, then you increase your investment. So this is one way I can say Africans in the diaspora, we can take advantage of our investment and then creating multiple streams of income. There are a lot of businesses online you can take. I was looking something on YouTube. I didn't even know this. You can even be reading a book and be making money out of that. I'm like, ooh, I need to get into this. There are a lot of AI tools online. Right, that you can use to make money, to create wealth, right? To create multiple streams of income. And it's rather unfortunate. A lot of us in the diaspora, we are just fixated on our income. What we, then we don't have, there's two types of mindset, I say. We have a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. The fixed mindset is what we bring from home. We bring it here and we are just fixated. We don't want to engage in personal development. We don't want to network. We don't want to leverage. And then one thing that I've realized, Chidera, look at people who are wealthy. There's one underlying thing that you see among all of them. It is they are very vulnerable. The power of vulnerability. If they don't know something, they would want to learn. They would want to
Yeah.
know. And that you won't see among us, especially our West Africans. We have
Yeah.
this ego thing. We are very fixated in what we know. We don't want to be vulnerable, open up. You know, if you don't know, so open up. We don't want to embark on personal development. We are
Yeah.
just fixated. We bring that mindset from home. It has become a status quo. We don't
Yeah.
change. We don't do anything about it. And then we have this ego, that thing. I don't know. That ego
No, the
thing.
ego is unexplainable. I don't know what
Exactly.
I don't know where that came from.
You know,
It's definitely passed down from generation to generation because I see it both women and men,
absolutely. Yeah.
women and
Yeah.
men. And I know, our mutual friend from
Yep.
Starbucks, I remember I telling him it would be so crazy. I love real estate. I've always wanted to have the
Together.
money and then just invest in real estate and just relax and just whatever, watch my thing grow. And I used to always say, I wish I had just one or two friends that I can trust with my life. Let's merge together. If I can qualify for a 500K loan and you qualify for a 500K loan, that's $1 million loan.
That's
Put
it.
it together, get a commercial property
Mhm.
and rent it out to the businesses that can pay for it. We're
Exactly.
generating income. And I told my friend, I said, you and your friends, you can do this with your friends. And he's like, yeah. Well, you again, it comes back to that unity. We don't have that unity, that trust,
Exactly.
in our communities to be able to embark on those journeys. Because I know a lot of people probably want to do it, but
It's not there. And to add to that, we are very
yeah,
inward looking. Like
yeah,
we are very, it's just me. I don't want,
mhm,
and you see, I deal with some of them and then they don't want to open up. And people have brilliant ideas within our community that they can leverage that brilliant
yeah,
idea with somebody who has a skill set, who has something that they can leverage on and then grow. But guess what? We are very inward looking. We are very secretive. I don't know whether all of us work at a secret
selfish
service agency.
too.
Maybe we need to,
I don't
maybe we need
know.
to, they need to employ all of us in a secret service agency because we are
Not
very inward
me.
looking. We are very
Right.
secretive. You know, we don't like to share. We don't want to be vulnerable to
Ah,
share our ideas. If you have
oh,
share your ideas with somebody, maybe somebody is the right person
man.
that has the resources that you can leverage on. We don't want to do that. So, I mean,
If
this
I
is
tell you, you hit when you just said that we don't share, it really ministered to me because there is one humongous opportunity that I missed in I was not born in this country. I am an immigrant. Technically,
just like
I
me. Yeah.
migrated from Nigeria to America.
Yep.
'Cause people hear me, they see me, they're like, "Oh, you're African? Oh my gosh!" No, I'm African, born and raised ish, and then I was raised finished up over here. And just when you say that we don't share resources, there was one life changing resource nobody shared with my mom and I, or we just did not know, right? And they know about it. Now I've worked in the agencies where I've seen these resources work like live. And I was like, oh my gosh, why did nobody tell me this? And since I knew it, Paul, I tell everybody. I tell
Wow.
everybody that I meet, oh, there's this organization, there's this way that you can do this and get this done so you can advance in your life here in this country as an immigrant. And so we don't share a lot. And
Yeah.
everything boils down to that inward personal issues that we push outwards, which causes the lack of unity. And of course, this is going to be an ongoing process. I
So,
think the first step or the one action, if you could say in just 2 to 3 steps right now, if you could say, a recommendation to get started on progression for us, what would it be?
I would say two or three things. I would say we need to renew our mind. We have to be outward looking, right? Look at a
Mhm.
bigger picture. We need to look at a goal. We need to look at the end in mind. And once we start looking at the end in mind, then we can work towards achieving that. So the renewal of the mind, we have to be outward looking. And a lot of the time I see religion playing a part. Sometimes you go to our churches, our pastors, our prophets to tell us, listen, keep things to yourself. Don't share your ideas. Don't do this, right? we have to be open-minded. We have to look outwardly, right? And then I guess we will be fine, and then we will see the kind of growth we want to see as a community.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again, Paul. I really appreciate your time today. It has been such a wonderful conversation, a fresh of breath air. Is it breath of fresh air? I don't even know. But thank you so much for your time and your knowledge and your insight today. I really appreciate it. Any last words that you want to share to our viewers today?
What I'll say is don't stop developing yourself. Don't stop reading. Don't stop networking. Don't stop building partnerships. Ask the right questions. This is what I want to say. Listen, Africans in the diaspora, what separates the rich from the poor is the right information. If you look around, what separates is the kind of information they have that we don't have, right? So we need to get the right information. We need to build the right network. Let us be outward looking. Let us be vulnerable. Let us be open-minded and keep learning and keep growing ourselves.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again, Paul. And
Welcome.
lastly, to get in touch with Paul, guys, you have his email here, his Instagram. We're going to put it somewhere in our description of this video as well. So you guys can click on it, go straight and chat with Paul. But yeah, thank you so much, Paul, for being on here with us. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure.